Most men do not overeat because they are weak. They overeat because they constantly are relying on willpower instead of systems. And today, I'm going to show you the weird daily habits I use on a daily basis to not only get lean, but stay lean year round, single digit body fat, without obsessing over food, without tracking every single bite, and without feeling overly restrictive. These aren't sexy, but they're psychological, they're biological, and they're backed by real science. So if you're a busy guy who feels like you've lost control around food, this one is going to be for you. Now, before we get into it, I have stayed lean year round. As you guys know by watching my Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, I'm lean year round through bodybuilding preps, marathon training, travel, high rocks competition, stress, business growth. And I've also coached hundreds of busy men inside of the Barbarian squad who struggled with nighttime snacking, stress eating, and weekend blowouts. And by the end of this video, you'll have simple habits that you can start implementing literally tonight to start controlling your appetite and control the foods that are going inside of your body without having to fight yourself. I'm going to walk you through the weird habits, explain the science behind them, and show you how to implement them immediately. And now, yes, some of them are going to be a bit weird, are going to be a bit odd, but they work. So, starting with number one, brush your teeth right after dinner. You don't have to do this after every single meal. Just do it after dinner, because post dinner, after dinner, that is the danger zone, right? How many times right after dinner have you convinced yourself, despite eating a pretty hefty meal, that there's always room for desserts? You don't always say, oh, let's have dessert after breakfast. Like, that's a bit weird, right? Same thing with lunch. Like, after you're done eating lunch, you're not like, oh, let's have a dessert now. But after dinner, right, that's when it's like more socially acceptable to say, hey, let's go for a dessert, or hey, let's have some ice cream, let's have some cookies. You convince yourself that there's always room for desserts. But this is where you can rack up the calories so quickly. You could literally be eating double, triple, if not quadruple the amount of calories that you had for dinner just from desserts. And there's this weird thing when we have something savory for dinner, let's say just a salty meal, you may be very stuffed and very full from eating that savory meal. But now, because you have changed the texture or the flavor of the foods, right, from going savory to sweet, you, for some reason, somehow have a brand new stomach and palate and appetite for that newer type of food, despite eating a bunch of calories. Just because the food is novel and you're maybe not used to it, you automatically convince yourself that, hey, there is room for desserts. But once again, that is where so many people go wrong and unfortunately put themselves in a calorie surplus, eating more calories than they burn on a daily basis. And if you repeat that every single night, Monday through Friday, and especially on the weekends, I know a lot of you guys do it on the weekends too, that right there is probably why you're fat and overweight and struggling. So make a rule to yourself. As soon as you're done eating dinner, brush your teeth. And I've made this a habit. I've kind of been doing it subconsciously. Honestly, like for the longest time, I can't remember the last time I haven't done that. And it's kind of like I'm on autopilot. It's automatic to me. I eat my dinner and then immediately I go to the bathroom, I grab my floss, and then I just kind of pace around. I walk around my apartment and I just kind of floss my teeth. After I'm done with that, I start brushing my teeth. Because let's be honest here, most fat gain does not happen at breakfast. You should be pretty disciplined at the start of the day. And it's actually been shown study after study that we have the most of like our willpower and discipline earlier on in the day. But as the day progresses, as the day goes on, we just make more decisions. We have more decision fatigue. And unfortunately, our willpower and our discipline starts to diminish. It's almost like we wake up with a full battery, it's green, and then, as you just go through your day, you're going to slowly but surely drain the battery. And then come the end of the day, you tend to not make the best of decisions because your battery is drained, unfortunately, right? So most fat gain does not happen earlier on in the day. It happens usually between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. when you are already tired and you're maybe scrolling on your phone and you're maybe watching these food videos on TikTok and you just want something sweet, right? Now, brushing your teeth right after dinner creates this psychological thing in your brain where it says kitchen is closed. It sends that signal to your brain. And here's why it also works from a biological perspective. That minty flavor that you get from brushing your teeth can actually alter your taste perception. How many times have you eaten something right after brushing your teeth? It doesn't really taste the same, right? It kind of like tastes weird because you have this minty aftertaste. And then when you try to eat like a pizza after or like a cookie after, it just kind of tastes like whatever you're eating with a minty aftertaste. And it kind of like ruins the flavor in a way. So that's why typically you kind of want to wait at least like an hour or two after brushing your teeth to start eating something again. At least that's what I've been told. And I've been doing it and it's been working phenomenally. And it also actually reduces the palatability of sweeter foods as well. And our research in a journal of clinical dentistry showed that brushing your teeth right after meals significantly reduced snacking behavior because it changed how rewarding the food itself felt afterwards. And then also from just after I'm done brushing my teeth at night, I don't want to brush my teeth again. Like, I'll be honest, and I think us as human beings, like, we are quite lazy by nature. Like, we want to make things as convenient as possible. And like, if you were to tell me, hey, Conan, you have to brush your teeth after every single meal, I would likely not eat as much because I just don't want to be brushing my teeth as much, right? So especially right after dinner, if you brush your teeth once, you are far less likely to eat right after brushing your teeth. Almost like the sunken cost fallacy where, yeah, you just don't want to eat something right after brushing your teeth and then having to brush your teeth once again. Like, why? You just brush your teeth, you just floss, you just did all that hard work. Why ruin it? Why reset it by eating something again and then having to floss your teeth again and brush your teeth again, which we all should be doing. If you're not, then you should probably focus on your dental hygiene first. But yeah, like, that's kind of how I view it, right? And once again, it kind of signals to your brain that, hey, kitchen is closed, no more food, and you just kind of stop eating, right? It's a hard stop, and most men don't need more discipline. They just need more of these hard stops throughout the day. Moving on to weird habit number 2. Drink 1 to 2 cups of regular water before every single meal. It doesn't have to be sparkling, although sparkling water will be a bit more ideal because it has those bubbly sparkliness, which can actually like make you fuller for longer compared to like regular water. But just regular water is fine because hydration and hunger are processed through overlapping pathways in the brain, which basically means that mild dehydration can actually trigger hunger signals. And that's why I tell every single one of my clients that, hey, first thing in the morning, you may be very hungry, but that hunger will completely disappear if you just start your day with 2 glasses of water. You may wake up wanting to eat something right away, but if you stop yourself and say, hey, let me listen to Coach Conan and drink my 2 glasses of water first, and this is a great time to maybe take your supplements too, kind of habit stack. Every single time I do that, I'm like, I'm actually not even that hungry. I was just really dehydrated and thirsty, because you got to think about it. You went 8 hours, hopefully, without eating anything or drinking anything. And so if you feel hungry first thing in the morning, it is just your brain telling you that, hey, we are dehydrated. And kind of like make a rule to yourself that, hey, whenever I want to eat something, whenever I want to eat a meal or eat a snack, drink water first. Water always comes first. And I've done this for years now where I don't even begin about thinking about making my next meal, about having a meal before having 2 glasses of water. And every single time after I do that, I'm like, I'm not even that hungry. And so I can actually delay and save hundreds, if not thousands of calories throughout the week by just simply having more water. We're just calorie free, 0 calories. And now if you despise the taste of water, add some like 0 calorie water enhancers into it, like a Mio Squirt, maybe some electrolytes if you want, like 0 calorie, like Gatorades, lemonades also exist. Diet sodas are also very beneficial. It's not going to kill you. Having a couple in moderation, especially if you reduce your full sugary soda to just diet soda, like you are going to be far better off. Far, far, far better off. So yeah, definitely hydrate before you binge, before you eat, essentially. And now a 2010 study published in Obesity found that drinking 500 milliliters of water, which is just 2 regular cups, before every single meal led to significantly greater fat loss compared to the control group over 12 weeks. And another study in appetite showed pre-meal water reduced calorie intake in middle-aged adults. So if you are a middle-aged adult, or if you're any person, if you're male, female, kid, old, grandpa, grandma, whatever you are, water, water, water. You're not filling up with water. You're activating stretch receptors inside of your stomach that send satiety signals to your brain before food even hits your mouth, right? So when you drink water, you quite literally expand your stomach. And by you expanding your stomach, it sends a signal to your brain that, hey, we are full, right? Because like it's taking physical room inside of your stomach. And our brain associates that with that feeling of fullness, right? And so by you drinking more water, your brain won't tell you to eat more because it already feels full because of it. And on top of that too, you'll eat slower, you'll eat less overall without even trying. Weird habit number 3, eat protein first always. Now, I don't think this is as weird anymore, especially as we head into 2026, where everyone is shouting at you on social media, eat more protein, eat more protein, eat more protein. So I think it's kind of common knowledge now to be eating more protein. But yeah, I think it's sometimes, especially when it comes to fitness, it's good to be reminded, or we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Not just in fitness, but in a lot of things in life, because I think common knowledge, common sense is common, but most of us just don't do it, either because we forget or we need to be reminded or whatever it is. But yeah, protein first always. So that doesn't mean carbs, not desserts, protein first, because protein increases peptide YY and GLP-1, which are both satiety hormones inside of your body. So by you eating more protein, you're going to increase your satiety levels. You're going to be more satiated. You're going to feel more fuller for longer. It also reduces ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone in your body, right? So these are all amazing things that protein can do for you outside of just building muscle. Like we all know it builds muscle, but a lot of people don't know that it's a great appetite suppressant. It reduces it increases your satiety levels, which is awesome. And now a study in American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found higher protein meals significantly increased fullness and reduced total calorie intake. No one that I know got fat of eating too much protein. They got fat from eating too many hyperpalatable processed foods, the combination of both carbohydrates and fats that are highly processed, made in manufacturer companies that are designed to have the best flavor, the best texture, the best chewiness, crunchiness, smell, everything combined into this delicious thing that we call a cookie or a donut. This wasn't made by Mother Nature. This was made by humans. And we have to keep in mind, I talk about this all the time, but these foods that are hyper processed, hyper palatable, at the end of the day, the companies who make these foods, they just want to obviously like grow their business. And how do they do that? Or how do they stay in business? Well, they do that by having recurring customers. And how do they get recurring customers? By literally making their product, their food product, as tasty and delicious. And here's the thing, as addictive as possible, right? And so they are quite literally doing their job. Pepsi, Lay's chips, Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Like all these foods are designed to make you eat them, yes, but then make you eat them more often. So you keep on recurring day after day, week after week, month after month. So they literally stay in business. Now, if you were to eat a Ben & Jerry's ice cream and it was absolutely horrible, it had a horrible taste, horrible texture, horrible everything, you probably will not be seeing Ben & Jerry's in the supermarket anymore, at the grocery stores, because no one will be buying it. So the companies are literally incentivized to make the food as sweet, as tasty, as sugary, as fatty as possible, right? It makes sense. Now, let's say you eat a meal and you start with eating the carbs first. Let's say you have a plate, you got your protein, you got your fats, and you got your carbs. If you start your plate by eating the carbohydrates first, your appetite will actually spike a lot. Now, when you start with protein first and you eat the meat first, you regulate it. So that is why inside of the Barbarian squad, protein anchors every meal for this very specific reason. Not because protein is magic, but because it controls your hunger. Even when you go, like when I go to a hotel, an all-you-can-eat buffet, I don't go completely balls to the walls and just because I can eat all the junk food and all the desserts and all the tasty foods. I don't. I grab my plates, I browse around and see what my options are, and I always, always, always. This is just like instinct for me now. It's just normal for me. I look, okay, where's the protein? I grab my proteins first, and then I add a ton of vegetables. That is literally my first, if not second plate as well. I load up on the good stuff. At least I find that to be the good stuff. It's going to keep you full. It's going to keep you satiated. And then afterwards, if you still have room in your stomach and you still want to eat something, then yes, you can go for the more tastier foods, the rice, the carbs, the potatoes, the fats maybe as well if you want, right? But by you starting your plates with protein and veggies first, it's just going to fill you up a whole lot sooner. And both these things are very low in calories compared to carbs and fats at least, and very filling per gram per calorie. So definitely when you're at home building your own meal, or when you're at a all-you-can-eat buffet, or when you're just in control building your own plate, start with protein and veggies first. Weird habit number 4 is eat veggies before anything calorie dense. This kind of goes back to what I said earlier, but focus on volume. Volume comes first, and then the density comes. Here's what I mean. High fiber veggies increases fullness while lowering total energy intake. This is a prime example of what a low calorie, high volume food is. A massive salad is very low in calories, but it is very high in volume. Like you can eat a massive salad in under maybe 200 calories. If you do some light dressing, don't go crazy with like the Caesar dressing or the croutons or the cheeses. Like that's where so many people go wrong. Like a lot of people think they're healthy by ordering a Caesar salad or like a Cobb salad, but they just drench it in like this olive oil and then the cheese sauce and then the dressing, the ranch. They add croutons, they add cheese, they add Parmesan. They literally grab something that is meant to be low calorie and healthy, right? Just lettuce, tomatoes, onions, whatever. And then they just drench it in all this just high calorie thing. And then you are still thinking to yourself that, oh, because this is a salad, this is healthy and low calorie. But no, you just completely ruins the sensation of what a salad should be, which should be low calorie, high volume to keep you full. And now a study in appetite showed that starting your meals with a low calorie, high volume food significantly reduced overall calorie consumption. Literally what I just said in the all-you-can-eat buffet scenario. If you start your plates with just a big ass salad, you are more likely to reduce your total calorie intake in that one specific sitting compared to if you started your plates with a bunch of like fried rice and pasta and bolognese sauce. Because this is a very high calorie dense food, right? Like it's very dense in calories. And and it's also not that filling either. Like you can eat a bunch of rice and it doesn't really fill you up. Whereas you can eat a bunch of lettuce and it'll definitely fill you up, but it won't really do much in terms of like the calorie damage. If once again, you don't smother it with like olive oil, cheese, dressings, all these things. And so this is why potatoes, broccoli, zucchini, carrots, foods that rank high on the satiety index, they work so well. And it becomes physically harder, like physically, your stomach physically cannot handle it. It becomes physically harder to overeat, and fat loss as a result of it will become much, much easier. Weird habit number 5, walk 10 minutes after every single meal. If you can do it after every single meal, at the very least, do it after dinner. Don't do it for like to burn calories, but do it for blood sugar control, because post-meal walking improves glucose regulation and your insulin sensitivity. And now a study in medicine and science in sports and exercise showed that short post-meal walks reduce blood sugar spikes more effectively than a single longer walk earlier in the day. And this kind of goes to show you the power of just like immediately moving your body right after eating a meal. I typically see 2 people after Thanksgiving dinner. The first person that comes to mind is someone who eats a big dinner and immediately after they lay down on the couch and they're in a food coma, right? They do nothing. They just sit around, they don't move their body, and they just end up feeling stuffed and they sit down. Whereas the other person, he's hyper, he's active. He's like, okay, we just had a nice dinner. Let's go on a walk. Let's take the dog for a walk. Let's play outside. Let's throw some snowballs. let's just be active, right? Like they're hyper. They're like, oh, we just ate a bunch of energy. Now let's like go burn this amount of energy, right? You are far better off being the hyper person after eating a meal, because it's gonna, yes, maybe burn some extra calories, which is not the goal, is not the purpose here, but it's from at the very least like a digestion standpoint. Like whenever you eat a big meal and you feel a bit bloated, you feel a bit lethargic, don't immediately sit down for the next 2 hours doing nothing. I guarantee you, your bloatedness, your like level of fullness, just your digestion in general will be far better off and will improve drastically by you just going on a short 5, 10, 15-minute walk. I guarantee you that. And like every single one of my friends that I know that are into fitness coaches, like we all do this. Like we all go for dinner maybe once a week, and like we don't really talk about it, but we just automatically do it, where we sit down for dinner, we have an amazing meal, and afterwards we all walk outside and just like walk laps. It's just something we do as like, I guess like fitness people. It's just like a habit for us now, right? Whereas we see so many other people who live this sedentary lifestyle, they eat a big meal, and then as soon as they are done stuffing themselves with food, they go straight into their car, and then they drive back home, and then they sit on the couch all day, and then they just end up doing nothing. So don't be that type of person. Be the hyperactive person. So why does this matter? When you have stable blood sugar, which post-digestion walks can definitely help with, you'll have fewer cravings later on. And most nighttime snacking is reactive hypoglycemia. So if you just simply fix the spike, you fix the cravings as well. And now here's another one. Weird habit number 6. Use smaller plates and smaller utensils. This is something that I got into during my first bodybuilding prep back in 2021. This sounds like grandma advice, but it actually works so well. And it's actually been interesting because I just thought it was just more of like a personal thing that I thought worked for me personally, but I actually looked into this, and like research actually finds, and a meta-analysis in obesity reviews show that plate size, like the size of your plates, can have a huge influence on portion perception and intake, which is crazy because your brain judges quantity visually. Now, when your plate looks full, your brain feels satisfied. And now on the opposite end of the extreme, when your plate feels empty, it feels deprived. So you're not necessarily shrinking your food, you're shrinking the illusion. Let's say you have the exact same meal, 500 calorie meal, and you put it on 2 different plates. One plate is like this massive plate, like it's way too big, no need for that big of a plate, but you put your food on that plate. Just visually looking at it, you're like, this visually looks a bit small, right? Because it only takes up so little amount of room on that entire plate. Whereas if you take the exact same meal, the same 500 calories, and you put it onto like a smaller plate, and it's like kind of like, it's almost like filling over, your brain perceives that as like, okay, this is a big meal because it literally is overflowing the plate. And your brain will kind of like view that as like, oh, okay, we must be eating a lot more food now. And especially if you combine this with a smaller utensil, ideally, like, and that's why it's like so many Japanese people or people from Asian cultures, they do such a phenomenal job at not overeating because they not only use this trick, but then they use freaking chopsticks. And you guys have probably all used chopsticks before. It is much harder to like rush yourself with eating by using chopsticks compared to like rice or like a spoon. Like there's like Japanese people who literally eat rice with chopsticks. And it's like, you literally have to go like grain of rice by grain of rice by grain of rice just to like eat it. Whereas us in Western society, in Western cultures, we just grab a big ass spoon and we grab the biggest spoon we can and we just chomp it down, chomp it down, chomp it down. Like, yes, it is the most effective way of getting the food down, but you'll just end up eating so much more before your brain catches up and sends you that signal to say, hey, we are full, we are satisfied, we should stop eating. And here's the thing that's also kind of like makes this difficult. If you have a bigger utensil and if you have a bigger utensil, it's easier to get the food down. You eat a lot faster as well as a result of that. Your brain typically takes on average like 20 to 30 minutes to actually feel full after eating. And so that's why it's so common for you to eat a meal and then immediately still being hungry after. Like, that is normal. That is not you being weird. It happens to me every single day, but I'm aware of it. I know that. And hopefully now you know that too. So if you can just wait 20 to 30 minutes after eating before you even think about having another meal, another snack, a dessert, you're going to notice that, okay, now that my brain has caught up to what I just ate, I'm actually not that hungry anymore. But so many people go wrong by eating a meal, eating it very, very quickly before their brain catches up, and then immediately having a dessert. And then they have that dessert, and then they just magically hit this wall. Like, okay, now I'm stuffed. But they just went through all this food in such a short time span because they were rushing their food. They were rushing their eating because they were using these big utensils. So 2 things here, like these could literally be the biggest game changers out of this entire video. Buy smaller plates and buy smaller utensils. Those 2 things alone, from a psychological perspective, could make the world of a difference between you stuffing yourself with food every single night versus you being able to control your calorie intake and actually feeling satisfied and satiated after eating and not overdoing it on the calories. This is going to be an absolute game changer if you're actually willing to implement this, which once again may sound weird. Like, if you can literally get rid of all your spoons and just start using chopsticks, I mean, yeah, you may be a bit frustrated whenever you eat your food, especially when you eat rice, but your love handles will thank you for it. Let's just say that. Okay, now here's the second to last one. Set a 20-minute rule before seconds. Now, when I say seconds, like second plates. I kind of alluded to this earlier, but cravings spike and fall like waves. They're not permanent. Research in archives of internal medicine found that delayed gratification for even 10 to 20 minutes significantly reduces impulsive eating behavior. We all get excited, right? When you're in an all-you-can-eat buffet, you have all this food around, you just want to eat as much food as fast as you possibly can because we get dopamine, we get excited, we're like, oh my goodness, I want to try this and this and this and this. And you just end up eating so much food before your brain catches up. So make a rule to yourself. After dinner, don't immediately go to the desserts. Don't go to the freezer. Don't go to the pantry. Don't. Do these 3 things first. Do the dishes, so immediately clean up after yourself. This is another habit that I've been doing for years now. After every single meal, I eat roughly 3 meals a day. I don't just leave the plates on the table and just like do my thing. I immediately, as soon as I'm done eating, I manually actually wash the plates. I don't even put it in the dishwasher. I manually wash it. So I do the dishes right after, and then afterwards as well, I do my 10-minute post-meal walk, and then I brush my teeth after dinner. Now, after you're done doing this, most urges, your want of dessert will disappear. And if you're still hungry after doing those chores and that walk and brushing your teeth after 20 minutes, then okay, go ahead and eat something. But eat protein first, right? Going back to one of my earlier rules. Eat protein first, not desserts. And nowadays, like, we are quite lucky where we live in a world where there's a lot of high protein sweet foods, protein bars, protein cookies, protein shakes, protein drinks, protein Pop-Tarts even. Like, there's a lot of, and then even like we have protein cookbooks. I have protein cookbooks that I give away for free. So if you want the protein cookbook, comment protein down below and I'll send it to you right away. It's inside of my free fat loss group. But yeah, you can get very creative and still eat a high protein meal that is low in calories, high in volume, but it is very macro friendly. It is low in calories. It's got protein, but it's very sweet and it's very filling. So yeah, definitely try doing that if you can. And then last thing here, this is probably the unweirdest one and the unsexiest one, but that is sleep. Sleep 7 to 8 hours minimum, because sleep restriction increases ghrelin, which hopefully, if we've been watching this video and been paying attention and been taking notes, ghrelin is our hunger hormone. And when we're sleep deprived, when we're restricted on sleep, ghrelin goes up. And leptin, which is another hunger hormone, goes down. And leptin signals to our body that we're satisfied, that we're full, right? Which is hopefully what we should be feeling after eating. But when we're sleep deprived, our leptin actually drops. So we don't feel as full, which sucks because now we're going to be eating even more, which is not what we want, right? And now one study showed that sleep deprived people had increased appetite and stronger cravings for high calorie foods. And you've probably noticed this personally as well. When you're sleep deprived, when you're not getting enough sleep in, you just tend to crave more junk. And another study showed that sleep loss increases activation in reward centers of the brain when exposed to junk food. You are not weak when you are tired. Your biology is just hijacked. So if you fix your sleep, you will fix your appetite. As simple as that. People who sleep 8 to 9 hours each night, they rarely have issues with controlling their hunger, like if ever. So here are the main takeaways from this video. You do not need any more motivation. You need friction in the right places, because fat loss isn't about white knuckling hunger every single day. It is about a couple of very simple key things that you can literally do on a daily basis. And that means hydrating before every single meal, anchoring your meals around protein, eating for volume, low calorie dense foods, moving your body after every meal, and then setting hard psychological stops. This is how you stay lean year round. Not cutting and bulking, not starving and rebounding, just very simple systems that anyone can do on a daily basis. So if you are a busy guy, a former athlete who feels like you've lost your edge and nighttime eating is what's holding you back right now, what you can go ahead and do is schedule a free consultation call with me down below, where we'll essentially go over your current goals. We'll see exactly how much weight you're looking to lose, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. We'll see exactly what's holding you back right now from losing that weight, whether it's lack of time, lack of structure, lack of accountability, lack of systems. And then we'll create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush your goals in the next 3 to 6 months. If that sounds good to you, the link will be in the description down below, and I'll see you all there. Peace.